Welcome back. It's Tuesday, which means that Tom is at the Resource Center getting lots of financial wisdom.
Yes, and we're going to go live out to him now. So, Tom, what is Bruce telling you about holiday budgeting?
How important it is. That's what Bruce is going to be telling. Here's Bruce himself. Bruce Porter, president and advisor here at Resource Center.
Good
Haven't
to see
seen you for a while. Good to see you again.
I've been busy, but
I know.
glad to be back.
He's been on vacation all this time.
Yeah.
Okay. They're asking advice on budgeting for the holidays, and it really, you need to start thinking about it like now.
You know what? The holidays are stressful enough.
Yeah.
Don't let the money part of it be an added stress in the holidays. So, you know, when we're looking at what are the expenses we're going to have for the holidays, I think you got to plan on you're going to have some extra groceries, maybe for Thanksgiving, maybe for Christmas, and maybe in between.
Yeah.
Travel, maybe you're going to go to your family. You got to make sure you're planning ahead. You know, the inflation increases in everything from last year.
Oh, sure.
Everything is more expensive. So you need to be looking at that if you've got some extended plans.
This is part of the whole, I mean, you're going to be planning for a number of people, increasing that, but you better start out with the food and the travel part.
Well, you got to get there if you're going. So if your plans include some travel, you need to plan ahead. Now, you know, we got Christmas coming up. That's a major spending holiday. You need to be budgeting right now. You've still got some time, a little bit per paycheck, to kind of plan what you're going to need. Now, menu, buy in bulk if you can. You know, go to Costco, Sam's Club around here, and prepare for some free activities. Now, you don't have to spend money to entertain.
That's true. That's very true.
There's lots of things to do around town that don't cost.
But you know, you skipped right over to Christmas and you neglected Thanksgiving in between as something you should. It's what, a little over two weeks away?
Not quite 2 weeks away.
Yeah.
So, you know, we're at the battle now. So if you got to get the menu, you got to get groceries, you're kind of running out of time.
Right.
But we got Christmas coming up, so you don't want to repeat the same tragedy, right?
Exactly.
Now, you know, I think it makes sense to be thinking about this. You know, if you're going to do some charitable giving this year, we got what, 6 weeks to go. So let's go plan out how much we're going to give our church, any charities we're going to support. They need help more now than they ever did.
Of course.
Because as times get tougher, people pull back. So dig deep. There's a lot of people in need in our community, and I think we need to come together and find ways to help as many people as we can.
Absolutely, because you know, one of the first things that you're talking about is all the prices are going up. Well, it's going up for them too.
Absolutely.
So they can use the help.
Well, and I think if you've been blessed, I think you need to offer blessings to other people. And I don't know, I feel that way, and I think this year is a very important year because there's a lot of stress out here right now, and maybe you can alleviate some of that stress by blessing somebody else. You know, always I'm going to touch on this. It's the time of year, review your investment portfolio. I mean, have the conversation with your people, talk about what you're doing. If you're going to have some tax implications, what's the strategy? We're getting late in the year, but there's still things you can do.
Right.
You can make contributions for an IRA contribution all the way up to the time you file taxes.
We've talked about that before.
We
you know,
have.
your max contributions, find out where they are, and have you reached that? Can you bring it up to those levels?
Absolutely. Same way on your 401k and things like that. But I think we've got a few weeks left, and I think, you know, the holidays, it's a good time to have that money conversation. And I think make sure you know where you're at going into the following year. Now, meet with your financial people. I always am going to encourage people to do that. Obviously, if you don't know or are not comfortable, call me. I'll be glad to sit down and visit with people, and we'll try to help you as best we can.
For people who don't have someone they could speak to, this would be a nice New Year's resolution also.
Absolutely.
To start getting your financial home in order as well.
You know, as tough as times are getting, I think we need to focus. You know, I ask people all the time, do you know where every penny of every dollar you earn goes every month?
Most don't.
Very few people know that, right? And
aware of that.
that's a starting point.
Yeah.
If you don't do anything but just identify, where is my money going?
Yeah.
I never seem to have enough. That's the first thing you do, is figure that out.
Show them the QR code here.
Now, you can always call us, 882-1800, snap a picture of that QR code. That'll take you right where we need to go.
All right.
And it's going to be a great holiday. So look
Absolutely.
forward to seeing everybody.
Bruce,
to
always
see you,
good
Tommy.
talking to you. Back to you guys.
Thanks so much, Tom. Here's the deal. Holiday budgeting is important, especially because with the new year, you want your finances right heading into a new year, new
Yep.
system. Maybe you're going to start budgeting something different. So it's good to meet with people
And
like
his
Bruce.
advice to know where your pennies are going is the first place to start.
Yes.